Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
Good morning, John Gray. I'm Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
Hey. I'm
Hey,
so glad to see
Peggy.
you guys.
Yeah, you too.
My gosh, I wake up and the sun is shining, and then I get to see you.
No, we're the
What a
sunshine.
treat.
Yeah, and the sunshine in this season is a little bit rare.
I know.
I mean, it rains every weekend.
It has been, but we're
You know,
supposed to have. It's funny. It's not funny, ha, but it's funny, strange. They had the piping on the green at the Celtic Cup the other day,
We were
and
freezing.
Fran was down there. My wife Fran was down there, and she called me up and said, "Bring me a blanket.
Yeah, let's go.
It's snowing."
Yeah, it did snow a little.
And then
Saturday.
Sunday afternoon, you could have gone water skiing.
Yeah,
I
right.
know.
But that's what happens when you live in
And I had
in
young girls
Central
singing,
Tennessee.
and their faces were just totally frozen.
Oh, I bet.
But they made it.
Yeah, oh
You know,
yeah.
I mean, what a little thing in the big picture.
I admire them and
Yeah.
just be able to sing in that. And I have been doing the Christmas parade with Candy.
Yeah.
I have years ago been so cold that I couldn't make my mouth
couldn't make
work.
your mouth work, I
or
know.
to enunciate the words. It's crazy.
I
But,
know.
and-
Discipline's good for you.
And we talk about that. And I watched part of a movie yesterday with Mel Gibson.
Braveheart. I love that.
Braveheart,
Oh,
about
my
the
gosh.
Scots and how they lived,
And I cried. at the
sleeping
end
in
of
a
that every
ditch. And I
time.
mean, they, I don't even know how we got here.
Right.
All of those people should have been dead. If we had to
amazing,
go
yeah.
back and do that right now, how many people would survive?
Yeah. True.
There are still a few,
Very few.
Right.
a few great people. I won't say men. I'll say people that will fight through to the finish.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
of
yeah.
those people, we need to be very grateful.
You know, and I'm reading a book right now called At Home, which is a travel book about a man who writes travel books, but this one he's writing about, instead of taking a trip through another country, he's taking a trip through his house, because he owns a rectory outside of London that was built in the late 1700s. And
What's the name of that?
At Home.
At Home.
And-
I've read about that.
And the thing about it is, there's times in history back in those days that 75% of the population might die.
oh, yeah.
There was no medicine, there was very little stuff. Children, they were talking about children, and they said people had so many children, and the children were just pushed aside. The parents didn't really get close to the children because 75% of them died before they were 4 years old.
It's sad.
So
Very sad.
you look back through the history of where we came from, and
You had to be tough to struggle through. You
yeah,
had
I
to
mean,
be
we're
tough.
lucky to be here.
You're exactly right, and used to it was what would the average age of men? There was a time in our country that the average age of men was 30 something.
Oh, yeah.
Something like
Now,
that. which
think
is
about
not-
that. That's why
unreal.
we are so overpopulated. No, that's partly why we're so overpopulated, is people are living a long time.
Well, and it's due to research in medicine and the things that we've done throughout the years to be better at what we do. At one point in this book, it said the average age was 18 and a half years old.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, because you had a lot of the families would have 6 and 8 children, and because 5 of them would die. So you're putting that equation of a whole lot of people dying at 1 and 2 and 3 years old.
Well, even back in pioneer days, when I will look at my great-grandfather, he had a very large family. Well, he needed workers on the farm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And same with my grandfather. He had 8 children. My father got the picture. He learned how to take care of it and not have so many.
There you
He
go.
had to.
There you go. And that's why a lot
But
of
it's true.
Well,
They
and that's-
needed
yeah.
people, you know.
And that's why a lot of people. I know my grandmother and Granddaddy Gray. Tidwell. She was 13 and he was 15 when they
Oh
got
my
married.
gosh.
And well, that happened back then because,
sure did, yeah.
because they needed to start having a family to farm.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking about my grandson at 15. What a laugh that would have been.
But they were all farmers. They were all.
Yeah, it's true.
It was an agrarian society.
My mom was
Heck, I think
15.
about me at 15 would have laughed that
know,
would have been. You know, goodness.
25 was hard enough.
Yeah, it was. It was.
No. Times are changing.
I didn't hardly get it right. I was about 30. It took me one marriage to get
You're
it
probably, yeah,
get it corrected.
30's
you know.
good. 30's
You know,
good.
so-
We don't grow up.
well,
you
that was
know.
my second one. I got
I know,
married the
but-
first
And,
time
I,
about
and I've
22.
said this before. Tolkien, in the book about the hobbits come of age at 33.
Which is about right.
And you look at us. I mean, we come, supposedly you can vote at 18. You can die for your country at 18. Can't drink a beer at 18 though.
Used to, you could.
Used to you could, but they
Yeah,
changed that.
right.
But we really don't wake up till we're 30. I mean, and really understand what it's all
Some
about.
of us don't.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, unless you're falling right back into the same routine that your family's done for generations. If
Yeah.
you're a farmer and you know when you get out of high school, or if you go to college, you're going to be a farmer. You've been trained from the day you were old enough to put a shovel. Your daddy was old enough to put a shovel in your hand to be a farmer.
True.
And so you understand that job description and what it takes to make it happen. And so that person, it grows up a little bit
They
quicker
grow up a little quicker.
than somebody who
But then they
is-
still do silly things.
well, of
trust
course
me.
they're going to do silly things. That's what youth is for.
I can't even believe some people let me drive a car when I was 18. You know, but
Oh, yeah.
you know,
I know what you mean.
And back then, you could fly in them.
you could.
You could fly.
And I
the speed
did.
limit was what, 85 miles an hour on the interstate? Some of those muscle cars would go 150.
Probably 80, 75 or 80. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We're talking.
How old were you when you started driving? 12?
No. Well, I was fortunate in that we were friends with the Ennis family. My dad and Mr. Jordan Ennis played golf, and so they had stuff,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola. They had stuff. You know, back then, most families didn't. A lot of families didn't even have one car, and if you
Right.
had two,
You were
know,
really-
you
you were
were
really
you know,
something.
Yeah, and so they had stuff, and when they'd get rid of stuff, we'd end up with their used stuff. And they had a little Cruisair, Sears Cruisair motor scooter.
Were they blue?
They were blue.
Light blue?
All of them were blue.
Yeah, I remember those.
Did you have one?
They had
No.
two little metal saddlebag type things on the back. One of them had the engine in it, and the other one was a little compartment. Had a running board you could put your feet
Did you
on.
get to drive it?
And so my brother had that, and then when he got old enough to drive, I got that. And so when I was like 12 years old, I had freedom.
Yeah.
I could get on that little dude and go anywhere I wanted to go.
Awesome.
It was
Yeah.
wonderful. Now,
No helmet.
no, didn't have to have anything.
No. You,
Well, when I was that age, I could get on a horse and go
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
a ways.
I mean, it wouldn't go very fast, but you could put a gallon of gas in it and run it for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I built a little cart, and I'd put a ladder and put wooden peach baskets in the slots of the ladder, and I'd put tie rakes on my little thing, and I'd go clean and sweep roofs off.
Oh, what a smart boy you were.
And then I had a little little thing that I'd put on my cart, and when corn was growing, I'd grow out in the country and pick corn out of the field
And haul it home.
and haul it home, and we'd have corn.
And your mom
We'd
would
eat
cook it.
corn. It was freedom at 12
Yeah.
years
Oh,
old.
sure.
And of course, you think about it, we're not that much bigger right now. Tullahoma is only 2,000 more people than it was 50 years ago.
What is our population?
18,600 what, Chief?
19,225.
Oh, it's gone up.
1920. Wow.
Well, it was when I graduated from high school, it was 16,400 and something.
Well, that's not
So
a
it's
huge,
3,000 people in 50 some odd years.
that's not a huge
But
advance.
there were, like I say, there was one car. A lot of families had no cars. Very few had two. Well, now you look in every driveway and around town, there's a car for every person in the house.
Sure. Oh,
So there's
yeah.
not that many more people, but there's a whole lot more traffic on the road.
Oh, yeah. And what happens when the roads get so full we don't have enough roads?
Build new roads,
Looks like
build
that
more
would-
roads.
I think we got to do something.
Widen Cedar Lane.
We got to. I think we got to
There's
get
the
above.
man right over there.
I think we got to get
That
above the
guy
road.
right over there who's going to come on
We
in
got
a
to be in
minute.
hovercrafts. I think we need hovercrafts.
Teleportation.
Something
We
like
ought to be
that.
able to do it ourselves, just
Exactly.
fly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? I do that
Yeah.
at night. Do you fly in your dreams?
I think you've been flying for some time.
I have. Do you fly in your dreams?
I don't really dream.
You don't? Oh, you do. You just don't recognize
When I
it.
was younger,
don't remember it.
I did a lot of things in my dreams.
Yeah.
But I don't dream anymore. You know, I went through the nightmare period and I went through all these fantasy periods of dreaming, but
The
I don't
nightmare
dream now.
periods when we're awake.
No, the nightmare periods is when we'd be changing homes from the military. We'd be going from like maybe London to Arkansas and your kids are whining, when are we getting home, Mama?
Yeah.
And I'm
We don't
wondering
know
where
where
we're
home
going to
is
live.
yet.
Yeah. That was the nightmare
I
period.
can imagine that would be a nightmare.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Military families have a lot to. We have a lot to be grateful for them also.
Oh, I want to bring up a point and say thank you to somebody. We were at the MAC at the conference center this weekend for Dancing with the
dancers?
Coffee County Stars, which is a fundraiser for Manchester Arts Center, and it's always fun, and the dancing's fun. It's hilarious, and everybody has a really good time. And Steve West, our friend who lives in Brentwood, but he bought the old church in Manchester.
Right.
He was born in Manchester, and he's turned that into a small event center, was dancing.
Oh,
And
he was one of the stars?
Yeah, he was one of the stars, and he had a dance instructor from Nashville that he brought down here with him.
Yeah.
And his wife, Rhonda, was there. And I had not met her before, and she's a wonderfully delightful lady. She is the head of educational outreach for TPAC.
Oh,
And when we did an interview with Steve when he first got back to town, he told me that she was she thought it was a very good job. And she complimented us, and she said she watches, they live in Brentwood, or Hillsborough, that area right around that side of Nashville. She watches all of our shows
Oh,
on
great.
the
bless her.
internet, and
Yeah.
said she just really enjoys what we do.
That's very sweet.
And that for someone like that to give us that type of recognition, we've been doing it for 25 years, but you never know whether you're doing it right or not.
No.
And she was very complimentary of what we do, and I just want to thank Rhonda for her kind words.
thank you, Rhonda.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you,
absolutely.
Rhonda. We're glad to be in your
There's a song.
heart.
What is that song?
boom, boom. Help me, Rhonda.
That's it. Help me, Rhonda.
Oh, I didn't know where you were
I
going with
think
that.
we're
It
all-
took a minute to
Thank
catch
you,
on.
Rhonda, instead of help me, Rhonda.
Yeah, right. all right.
Okay, we'll be right back after these messages. I promise if you keep watching, I won't sing it.
Russell's got your truck, man. Russell's got your truck.
Big, bigger, and even bigger. Russell Barnett has any size truck for any size need. Chevrolet, Ford, GMC, Ram. Check us out on the web at russellbarnett.com. Our selection is so huge, we may need our own zip code. So my question is, why buy your next truck anywhere else?
With the best selection anywhere. Russell's got your truck, man.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles at Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, I'm Mark Allen, candidate for Coffee County Mayor. I am a husband, father, and public servant, and not a politician. I have been a government auditor, finance director, and small business owner for over 35 years, and I know numbers. I've seen the numbers for Coffee County, and I see a mess without vision or direction for the future. We have a high debt of $84 million with infrastructure wearing out before it's paid for. County employees not being paid a livable wage, and one of the highest property taxes in the state. What are we getting for our money? It's mismanagement at best. We need real change. The status quo is unacceptable. vote Mark Allen on May 1st in the Coffee County Republican primary, and let's hold Coffee County accountable again. To the citizens of Tullahoma, Coffee County is your county. Get out and vote, no matter who you vote for. Show the politicians it's your county too.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're pleased to have joining us on the set now Paul Blackwell, because this is our segment we refer to as Police Pointers. However, today, as you may have heard in the opening, Paul has been at least temporarily promoted, so he's going to be the new city administrator. Starting when, Paul?
Well, Mr. Baltz, the current administrator, retires May 4th. But he and I are spending time together going over some key things that projects, policies, practices, how we do things, how the Board of Mayor and Aldermen operate. So he and I are going over quite a few things, but he's still in charge until May 4th.
Right.
So I guess 4:30 on May 4th will be my indoctrination.
Right. Is this something you saw coming, or did it just sort of come up in our
Well, of course, Mr. Baltz announced his retirement, and the mayor put out to all the department heads, those that are interested in possibly being considered for the interim city administrator position. And several department heads put in for it, as well as myself. And I was fortunate enough to be the one that the panel selected. So to me, it's an honor. Of course, I've been asked why you put in for something like, for that, because we know that the city administrator job is a very difficult job. A lot of things, a lot of people you're responsible to and for. So, and I guess when I try to answer that, it's sometimes, well, it's just my nature. One, we live in Tullahoma. Tullahoma is our home. I work for the city, so I have a vested interest in the city. And I believe, and at the time, that I could contribute in a different way to the city. So I went ahead and threw my name in the hat, and as I said, fortunately, I was selected. And it is interim.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to be a matter of a few weeks or a few months. Of course, the hiring process for a city administrator will be somewhat lengthy. When you consider application periods, interview periods, and then the person selected, if they're from out of town, will have to give notice at their job, and then relocation. So time starts to add up.
Right.
So it could be, a couple months, a few months. And it'll be quite interesting. I was talking to the mayor last night and said, I've been the chief for almost 11 years, so I can generally say I understand how the city works.
Right.
But now in this position, knowing just how the city works is not enough. You got to know where the gears are and where you oil it and do everything else. And
Right.
you've got to know a little bit deeper into the process.
Right.
And that's what Mr. Baltz and I are spending time doing now, is learning that the processes.
So you got close to a month, but to kind of get a grip
to work
on it.
side by side with Mr. Baltz and start developing, some of my knowledge about what he does.
You mentioned that it's an interim position, so do you don't have any aspirations to do that long term, or do you even know yet?
You don't know. And that question's been posed, and I can only tell someone, gosh, you got to let me experience it first and get to know it a little bit.
Right.
And we'll see. I've been a police officer for 36 years, so just to up and say, well, I'm tired of doing this, I want to do something different, that was not the intent. The intent was this is an interim position, and we'll just see what develops from there.
Actually, though, I would assume, though, when you became police chief in Tullahoma, that job had more administrative kind of aspects to it than probably the jobs that you'd had before.
Sure. Yes, because again, and maybe that's why I felt I was a good candidate for this position, because in the police department, we work with a lot of process, a lot of policies, a lot of laws, ordinances, where things have to be done in a set way, as do all the department heads. I mean, each department has got their rules, regulations, and how you do things. So I felt comfortable that the idea of having processes did not bother me. And we got some great department heads, which makes it easy because you know that they have the knowledge of how their department operates, and and they're the ones that really make the city thrive the way it is with the department heads. And the city administrator is basically that conductor that's driving the train. And just as I've said oftentimes about the police department, it's the officers that make our department what it is. I'm just fortunate enough to be, the head cheerleader or the conductor of the train.
Right. And moving a current department head into that job temporarily or on an interim basis is not unprecedented, because a lot of you folks may not remember this because it was many years ago, but the public works director, Wayne Limbo, held that position for a few months while they found Mr. Botts.
And I would say for an interim position, why would you not want someone that already has some familiarity with the city and the people, and so I think that was the right move. And then we'll just see what happens with the search for the full-time city administrator.
Right. And I'm sure they've got criteria they expect.
They do. There's not only in the job description, but our city ordinance has 9 different things that the city administrator is responsible for, and some of that dictates what your background needs to be, and your experience and your knowledge. So it's I understand years ago when Mr. Baltz came on board, that application period, they had a whole bunch of applications, and there's no reason to think they won't this time as well. I think people have recognized that Tullahoma is experiencing some growth and vitality. Just drive down Jackson Street and some of our other roads, and you'll see that Tullahoma is a community that's on the move.
Yeah, and I've been impressed along the way with Jody Baltz and what he's done, because I know I've lived here most of my life, and that was the position at one time, or I think it was called something different at that point, but where just anybody that had any kind of management experience could probably have applied for that. But over the years, it's grown into a situation where you've got to have some pretty good knowledge of what's going on here in city government or municipal government before you can.
And Mr. Baltz is probably the anomaly, because he's been here almost 20 years.
Right.
And if you do any reading across the industry, a city administrator life expectancy at a city is 3 to 4 years. To have someone stay somewhere 20 years is truly a testimony of his knowledge and his abilities.
You're right about that, and I think you got to be pretty adept at doing that kind of thing, to the extent that you could make some people mad.
Sure.
Just doing your job.
Yeah.
Just doing your job. Yeah. What you're supposed to do.
And I think the big thing is you do the right thing.
Yeah.
If you find yourself getting wrapped up in doing something for one person because of who they are, what they are, or what they can, give back to you, that's the wrong motive. The motive's got to be what's right for the city.
I don't exactly see Tullahoma as being that kind of a good old boy concept that you might still see in some small towns.
Sure,
but
and I don't either. Like I say, the policies and the processes that are in place are designed for everybody. And I think the department heads have done a very good job of making sure that everything is handled in an equitable fashion, that everybody is treated the same.
Right.
And in most places, that's all people ask is treat me the same as everybody else.
Sure. I would imagine you probably are knowing what kind of person you are. I would imagine you're kind of looking forward to this. It's a new challenge.
It's a challenge,
different.
and I have to admit that I do like to look for challenges. Mr. Baltz at one time said to me, "You're not happy unless you have something in the works," and I said, "That's right." I mean,
yeah.
I'm one of those that believes if you become stale or stagnant, that's just not a position I want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to always be trying to move forward and evaluating things. And yes, it's going to be a challenge. I know that.
So I assume that we're probably not going to see you in a police uniform for the next month or two.
Probably. Well, it could be a couple months.
Yeah.
It could be a few months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And that was one of the things that initially we discussed would I wear both hats, be the chief and the interim city administrator. But I believe that we probably came to the right conclusion that that'd probably be pretty difficult.
I can imagine.
Because it would just take one thing on the police side that would really have to take my attention, and then that would take away from.
Right.
So I think the right decision is that I would appoint an acting chief of police so I can focus on the duties of the administrator.
Have you done that yet?
Not yet. I mean, I've talked to the person that's going to be taking over, but basically that person will take over at the same time that I make the switch to the city, the interim position.
So at what point do you actually show up at City Hall, or have you already started?
Well, I show up every day at City Hall.
Well, you're always at City Hall. You're actually just moving.
I'm just moving about 100 steps away.
Yeah, right.
And that's the good thing. That is really
Right.
the greatest setting, because whoever, the person that's going to be the acting chief, it's not like I'm out of the country or out
Right.
of town. We can still discuss things to make sure that the department continues to function.
Right.
I have utmost confidence in the person that's going to be the acting chief, and he will be. We're just down the corner from each other.
Right.
And I'm hoping that if I have any questions, I can pick the phone up and call Mr. Baltz and say,
Is Jody staying in town?
It's my understanding he's staying in town. Just
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to say too much about what his plans are, because they're obviously his plans.
Right.
But I think he's going to be close enough. I can reach out and get in touch with him if I need to.
Yeah.
And get a little help on something.
Because I've heard the mayor say on numerous occasions that he didn't know anything about this. Jody Baltz was the one that had all the knowledge about the fundamentals.
And it is, and in reading some of our charter and our ordinances, the city administrator is that person that runs the city on the day-to-day basis, and
right.
Our elected officials kind of have the vision for the city.
Right.
And then it comes to that city administrator to make that vision happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, exciting times, Paul, for you and for the city of Tullahoma.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it, not only as a challenge, but something new.
Right.
It's going to be very difficult for that day when I wake up and it's like, don't put a uniform on,
yeah.
Don't put your gun on, and that's going to be, because I'm not retiring.
Exactly.
I mean, that's one thing if you're retiring and doing that.
And I think it really couldn't have come in a better time in your life. Paul's wife has a very prestigious position normally, in her work, but she's also the president of the Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce.
Maybe I'll have a little control over it now.
Maybe your status at home will move up a notch here. Who knows?
Oh boy, that's a whole different discussion. But she still reminds me she's the president. So.
Exactly. Paul, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Couldn't have picked a better guy.
I think we have at least one more visit together before that transition.
Well, we'll probably be able to figure out some way to make that.
Hey, what if we just turn this to the city administrator?
Absolutely, sounds good. We've never had we've never really had access to the city administrator on an unlimited basis.
Well, let's just see what happens.
That's right. All right, folks, we'll be right back in just a minute. For living right after this.
Kay and Greg Gillum have added another touch of excellence to their furniture business. Now a newly stocked 20,000 square foot Badcock Home Furniture and More location in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Locally owned and operated and offering the same friendly professional service with the best prices on name brand products like their sister store in Winchester, Tennessee has for years. Visit the new Tullahoma location and shop name brand bedroom suits, electronic department with computers, tablets, 4K televisions, and accessories. A large complete appliance center to fit the style of any household. Beautiful selection of rugs that complement any person's taste. A variety of living room combinations all in one large showroom. That's right, Badcock Home Furniture and More has added a new location. 373 West Lincoln Street, Tullahoma, Tennessee. Offering special prices year-round. Financing is always available. Speedy delivery to your home or office. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, noon till 5 p.m. Call 931-222-4353.
Time to get fit, Tullahoma. Register today to run or walk the I Am For The Child Family 5K Run and Walk. You'll be proud to know you're supporting the court-appointed special advocates by running or walking Saturday, April 14th at Fraser McEwen Park at 8 a.m. Register at active.com for $25 or the day of the race starting at 6:30 a.m. or call 455-7426. Special thanks to these sponsors who make this event happen. CASA's I Am For The Child event is Saturday, April 14th. Register now and join in the fun at Fraser McEwen Park.
The Animal Shelter has served Tullahoma dogs for nearly 30 years. Now, you can help us build a bigger and better no-kill shelter. Your tax-deductible gift is matched dollar for dollar. So come on, bark it forward and donate now to have your tax-deductible gift matched. Make your check payable to the COT Shelter Building Fund and go to tullahomatn.gov to see all the unique gifts available for your generosity. For more details, you can call City Hall at 455-2648.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman, and this is Pat Welch. John and we are here today for segment number 80 of the Conversations with John and Pat.
You're going to talk about Tennessee football a little bit.
A little bit about Tennessee football, a little bit about Tullahoma football.
Do you know that this was Tennessee's state song, and still is, but then one came along called Rocky Top, which you might say outdid it a little bit. But this was...
Well, this we're going to have a little segue today then.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see introduced him to my loved one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night and the Tennessee waltz, only I know how much I have lost. For I lost my little darling the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee waltz.
Yeah, that was magnificent again, and it's that is well known right there now.
It wasn't perfect, but is about as good as I can do at the moment.
Well, which is close to perfection.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
That's correct. All right, John. Last week we talked about some things that took place in football-wise in 1952, and Tom Brixey, who was from Tullahoma, he was coaching at Sparta High School, and the story then evolved from him being at Sparta at the time. But today I thought we'd go back and pick up Tom Brixey and get a little bit more history from him. And he was, I believe, raised somewhere out around Wesley Heights on East Lincoln Extended, which at that time in the 40s and 50s was considered country.
Yep.
And his older brother, who was about 10 years older than he, was Vernon Cecil Bub, was his nickname, Brixey. And we had a segment
about a year or
so ago where we found out that he was a tremendous player at the high school in the early 30s, had a tragic injury, and was paralyzed of lower extremities and died about 6 years after that. I've realized it has to be Tom Brixey has to be his younger brother, because I found the grave with help from the city where Bub and his parents were buried at Maplewood, and the gravestone for his father was listed as Thomas David Sr., and I've seen where Tom Brixey's middle initial was D, so I'm assuming that had to be a son. And if you'll put up that first picture, this is the high school team of 1942, which their record, they played 11 games, and then they played a bowl game, and they won 10 games, tied 1, and lost 1. The first game of the 12, they gave up 13 points and still won. And they never, for the next 11 games, they only gave up 7 points, was the most. Wow. And they had, out of that next 11, they had 7 of them were shutouts. So that was a fine football team. And I believe he's number 52, close to the first row. I hope that our TV audience can see him. And when I first saw his picture, his high school picture, I knew it had to be Bub's younger brother, because they looked very similar, though Bub was a little bit leaner and Tom was heavier and was a lineman, where Bub was a back. He coached at, well, let's go back to college. Again, I mentioned last week that I'd been out to see Coach Cooper, W.C. Cooper, and he looked in his program that I'd taken from an Alabama-Tennessee game in 1948, and when he looked through the roster, he was reminiscing a lot of different players, and he mentioned that Tom was from Tullahoma. But Coach Cooper, he's pictures in that program about 4 or 5 places, but Tom had a write-up and a picture too. Can you put up picture number 2 there? That's Tom Brixey there, and that's in 48. That first picture we showed was in 42, so you can see in 6 years he has matured for sure. And if you could see the write-up, it says that he was like many of the players at Tennessee that year, and also at Alabama that they were playing that day. About 2/3 of them were veterans, and Tom had gone into the Navy right after high school, it looks like, and then transferred to UT to play football. He then went to start coaching and finished, as we said last week, he coached in Sparta for a while, and he ended up going to Kingsport, that was presently Dobbins Bennett High School, which is a real rich history, and he would have coached at the same time that Coach Cooper was in Tullahoma. Dobbins Bennett had a real good record in the 60s, and I could be corrected, but I believe in either 63 or 64, Coach Cooper opened up with Chattanooga Central, who was the preseason first-ranked team in the state, supposed to be a really good team, and Tullahoma blocked 2 punts to beat them, and that was the day of the 16mm films. He sent a film of that to Tom Brixey to Kingsport before they played Chattanooga Central later in the year. So that I thought was really interesting. And I got a lot of, let's see here. I think one thing a side note that outdoorsman like you, John, would appreciate. Tom Bixby also, in addition to coaching in Sparta and coaching at Kingsport and playing at UT under General Neyland, he also in 1955 was listed in Sports Illustrated. They had a fishing report section and he had caught a 6.5-pound smallmouth, which is a big smallmouth out at Center Hill, and that was listed. Tom Bixby, the coach. And
winner all the way.
All the way. And I guess the last part to wrap it up today, when I was researching, I got in some media guides at UT, and they in the back of them list every letterman that's ever been at UT, football player, in alphabetical order. And then they have a listing of lettermen from different communities of Tennessee, every single one of them. In Tullahoma, it was really interesting. They have 5, which is a lot more lettermen than most of the towns surrounding us. The first one was M.R. Campbell, which I'm assuming was part of the Campbell and Dan, that family. And he lettered in 1896 and 1899. I don't know what happened in 97 and 98, but he lettered twice. The second one was Malcolm Anderson, and I don't know if he was related to, there was an Olney Anderson that was one of the early mayors in town. He lettered in 1932, 33, and 34. And then Tom Bixby lettered in 48, from that year that we had the program, and also 49. And the fourth one was Dick Ellis, who lettered on Doug Dickey's Gator Bowl team of 1967, and we've got picture number 3, Philip. And Dick Ellis on the left standing in a running position. He was a big back and was a linebacker at UT. And I can't go any further, TV land, without noting that on the back of that article had second and third teams, and the third teamer was our friend Dan Wagner, was listed as all mid-state, third team. And the honorable mention, there was a gentleman named Rickman from Chapel Hill, which he was an outstanding football player.
Cheryl from Tullahoma, and
it was really interesting looking at that. And our last, he lettered in 1967. Again, that was the Gator Bowl, and I believe the management may correct me, but I believe that team beat Syracuse in the Gator Bowl, and they had. I believe there was Syracuse had a back named Little that ended up being maybe in the Hall of Fame, NFL for Denver. The last letterman from Tullahoma is Jim Duval. That'd be picture number 4, Philip. He is number 54 there in the basketball uniform. He was a class behind me.
He doesn't look imposing there, but Jim Duval's a big guy.
He was a big man.
Big guy.
Yeah, he was probably 6'2" and 215, which was a big guy in the early 70s. We don't have a football picture for him because I got my senior annual out, and Jimmy transferred to Tullahoma, he and his family, that year, and he got to school just a little bit after picture day. So we've got a picture
Mr.
from
Miss Duval went to our church, and the boys did too. There was a Bob Duval.
Bob Duval was the oldest, and then David, who coached at the high school and was a little All-American at MTSU. He played high school ball at Crossville, and they had a great team. He played with Kurt Watson, who was a UT back in the 60s.
Somebody ought to do a study about what those boys ate, because they one of them
they were really good athletes too. They're all big boned. Mr. Duval was big boned man. Yeah.
All right.
That probably wraps up segment 80. But John, we're not done. We've got more.
We're proud of Tullahoma.
We're proud of Tullahoma. We're proud of UT, and y'all come back and see us. Thank y'all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint.
I just knocked a tree over. This the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
We're going to have so much fun. It takes 2 introductions to make this segment happen because we have our button ladies back with us, and they come from time to time. And you're going to have to tell me your name again.
Okay, I'm Peggy McCulloch.
Peggy McCulloch.
And Crocia Robertson.
Crocia Robertson. And they come about yearly now.
Well, it was about 4 years ago,
Has it
I
been
think
that-
we
well,
were
it
here.
doesn't seem like it's been that long.
No, it really doesn't.
But I love buttons, and they have more buttons than anybody I have ever seen in my life. And we're going to show you some different kind of buttons. And of course, up here in front, they got buttons galore. And you said you've been doing this for what?
For close to 30 years.
Collecting buttons.
Yes.
And interested in buttons. And
Loving
Crocia?
them. I started in 1998, I believe it was. And the buttons we're going to be thinking about today are buttons and men. They're related to men.
Buttons related to men.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's good. That's good. Now, do y'all have are you getting prepared for a show?
Yes.
When is that going to take place?
That's going to be the 21st of this month, which will be the 3rd Saturday of this month.
Right.
Down at the Arts Center. This is the 50th anniversary of the Tullahoma Arts Center. And so we are going to show vintage and antique buttons.
That's wonderful.
And that's going to be one day only, and it is free and open to the public from 10 to 4 on that day.
And that's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
Great. So as we talk about buttons and men,
yeah,
and buttons and bows and all of that, but we were just discussing, you have a couple of things here that are just don't happen anymore. They're what is it, waistcoat buttons, which is a waistcoat was a vest,
right?
Named for a vest, and tuxedo buttons. And let me have that little box right there. And this is in a beautiful little leather box right here, and I'm going to show those. And those are tuxedo buttons. Isn't that amazing? And where'd these come from?
They came from Florida.
Came from Florida. All right, let me see the other one.
Those are from Europe.
These are from Europe, and this is another little leather box, and these are waistcoat buttons or vest buttons. And look at that box. Now, it's amazing to me that in times past, that dress was a very important thing. And there were ladies that dressed like ladies and gentlemen that dressed like gentlemen. And they had all these appointments that you could probably go through 98% of the households right now and not find any of that.
That's right.
Because it's a lost type of a thing. What else do we want to show that's special?
Well, I'd like to say a thing or two about men and buttons
men
first.
And buttons.
And you know, it was the men who first wore the pantyhose, and it was the men who first wore the buttons. And back in the 12th century, they didn't have buttons, and they fastened their clothes with thorns, strings, wooden pegs, pins, buckles, and some things like that. And then when they did have buttons, it was the men that wore them, and they were not for practical fastening clothing like we use them today. They were ornamental.
Right.
And some of those fellas, well, the old King Louis the 15th was so vain, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And he almost broke the French treasury. In 1 year, he spent $600,000 back then on buttons. And that wasn't all. He squandered about $5 million on diamond buttons alone. And the buttons then were sewed in rows down the coats. And the thieves carried razor blades and just took them off while they were wearing them.
Really? Well, I've always wondered, and I'm reading a book right now, and here's my jacket sleeve right there. And there's 4 buttons on that sleeve that are absolutely no good for anything.
Oh, yes, they are too.
Well, they don't fasten anything.
They don't fasten anything.
The more buttons you had, the wealthier you were.
Well, the old Ferdinand the Great, you can thank for having those buttons on your sleeve, because he was very neat. And he found his men wiped their runny noses and their sweaty brows on their sleeves. So he had buttons sewn on the sleeves so that
they couldn't
that would not be very comfortable for
Well,
them
Ferdinand,
to do.
how smart you were. I just thought you were a comfortable bull. Okay, what else do we want to show special?
Well, she's got some others.
All right. Let me hold these up for you.
Those are fancy little buttons that the
They're
men
fancy
wore.
buttons that men wore. Look at that, and some of them have paintings on them. Some of them are encrusted with different things. Look at that, and I love the little vest at the top. And this was a display that was used, that you used in a competition?
National competition.
And won.
And I won first.
First prize, right there. This is first prize nationally. Look at that. Isn't that little vest neat? I just love it. What else we have right quick?
Those are Austrian Tinies, which are pretty much the same thing.
Austrian Tinies. So they're tiny buttons to go through very, very tiny little holes on the clothes. And like you say, early on, these weren't necessarily used to close anything.
No. And
They were
now
ornamental.
those earliest buttons were made of ivory, gold, silver, and gems. And that's the reason nobody could afford them except
the wealthy
people. The royal people.
Let me see this one.
Now this one is a military button, but it's kind of different because when the
a
soldier would go out,
compact.
no,
See that?
it has his picture
Well,
in
I mean, it's yeah,
right. It has the soldier's girlfriend or wife's
wife or
picture in it.
whatever.
As you
There you
close
go.
it up, it has the insignia for the
branch of the service they were in.
right.
Okay. What else do we have here?
All righty.
We got to hustle through because
would
we're
you
running.
think of the Colt 45 revolver and a
Right.
plastic button being associated?
No.
Well, they are. They were made by the same company. Here is a plastic button made by the Colt company. Now, wait a minute. I'll have to show you that this one is a rouge button.
Oh, okay.
And you unscrew it, and it's got rouge in it. And so me lady could
See that little
freshen up
bitty
at
button?
any time.
Look at that little bitty button.
With a little cameo
All
top
right, keep
on
it there. Got a cameo top on it. You unscrew it, and there's rouge inside. To where when she needed to freshen up her makeup,
Yeah,
she had a button that she could just unscrew and hide. You know, women are good. I didn't get that back on properly.
Okay.
Women are good at concealing things from men that make them attractive to men. That's sort of like when your wife puts on a new dress and you say, "That's a new dress?" Oh no, I've had that old thing. It's been in the closet for 2 years. Well, they buy it and stick it back there where you don't know they've got it.
Okay. Well, you know, when the Japanese men wore kimonos, they didn't have any pockets.
Right.
And so this is a little button called a netsuke, and it was fastened into this sash that held their kimonos, and it held a little bag, and that's what they used for pockets. Now, there is one, and here is another, and talk about art. Look at, okay, if you can.
Yeah, just get her over there with that. She's got it.
Can you get this one? Okay.
Just hold her still.
All righty, if you can see this one.
Yeah.
Okay, see there's that little man all carved out of wood, and then he has two masks. The top one is good, and the bottom one is evil. Oops.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, let me tell you what. We're going to tell you again because we're out of time. When this is going to happen? This is the 21st.
Yes, but I've got to mention.
All right, one more. Here we go.
Yes, Hap Arnold.
Okay. Let me have
Designed
that.
this button, which is the U.S. Air Force button.
Hap Arnold, who Arnold Center is named for, and designed that button, which is the Air Force button, right?
That's right.
There you go.
That's
These
what I
women,
understand.
see, this is what you get to see when you come to the Art Center on the 21st, Tullahoma Art Center. We didn't scratch the surface, not only of the wonderful buttons that you'll see, but the wonderful stories you'll hear.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies,
Okay.
for being with us again, and you know that you're always welcome to come back, and we'll see you on the 21st, okay?
All right.
All righty.
All righty.
We'll be back
Be
after
sure.
these messages.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back. I promise you're going to be glad you hung around for this segment. I have with me Mr. Caleb Dye. Hey, Caleb.
Hey, how are you?
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Caleb has been a Marine. He has been all over the place, and one of my favorite things is he's the grandson of Mike Sneed. And
yeah.
Mike Sneed's the man, you know what I mean?
He's a character.
Caleb has been on a journey, I think, in his life for somebody 21 years old. That's almost impossible to comprehend. Let's go with your fitness.
Okay.
Which you started when?
As far as taking my nutrition and training seriously, probably about 8 months ago.
About 8 months ago, and you weighed how many pounds?
I weighed 117 pounds.
117 pounds.
Right.
And now you're weighing?
170.
And I think this would be a good time to show your before and after pictures, if that's okay with the guys in the back. There we go. That was at 117.
It was, yeah.
And there you are at 117. And
correct.
All of a sudden you made a decision in your life to change some
and
things.
It was probably right around this time this picture was taken. This is at the beach. This is right after I got out of the Marine Corps.
After you got out of the Marine Corps, which, by the way, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And then you started going to work out?
Yeah, so right around this time is when, you know, I started to take a look. I didn't like how my clothes fit. You know, I didn't like a lot of things. So I made a decision, and I started doing research. You know, found some people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
And I started a hard diet and to train nonstop.
Wow, Caleb, oh my gosh. That is awesome. And when were these pictures taken?
These were probably about 2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I know you're fixing to enter some competitions.
Yes.
And I would say that you are ready.
Almost.
Absolutely.
All right, so I still got a little ways to go as far as, you know, getting some width and some things that, you know, judges will pick on. So a little bit about competition. If anybody's interested, they can go to TennesseeBodybuilding.org or NPC Tennessee.
Okay.
And they'll have the list of the dates of the shows that they just wanted to come and watch. I mean, all are welcome. I'll be at the one in Mount Juliet on July 23rd.
July 23rd, where will that be? In a gym somewhere, I guess.
I forget the exact location.
That's all right.
It is on the website.
It'll be on the website.
Yeah. And then the one I'm competing in is actually in September, and that'll be in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Correct.
And that's a big competition.
It is. So what
Would that be statewide? Or,
yeah, it'll be.
or Middle Tennessee,
correct.
maybe?
So the way you apply is you go to Tennessee's bodybuilding website, and you apply for a NPC card.
Yeah.
And that gives you access to all the competitions for the year.
What would you say brought you to start to bodybuild? What got you there?
Well, I mean, I've always had I guess, passion for being active. So, I mean, I played sports my whole life, you know, football, baseball.
Right.
And just not being active anymore, not playing sports, you know, it's kind of, you know, I wasn't in the right mental state. So, you know, exercising kind of got me into it. And then, you know, I found people that I looked up to in the industry. I saw, you know, not just how they looked, but, you know, also, you know, how, you know, happy they were, you know, just different things they were able to do.
It changes more than just your
Correct.
your physique. It changes you mentally. It changes you spiritually, possibly.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, just without God, I mean, I just wouldn't have anything. But it's just one of those things that, I mean, mentally, I was in a bad place. You know, I was in a really dark time, smoking, drinking, and abusing medication, and you know, just mentally.
And you've stopped all that.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think that's phenomenal.
And exercise is, I mean, fitness of any kind. You know,
and
whether
I totally
it be
congratulate
weightlifting.
you on
Thank
that.
You.
So how many hours a day do you put in? I know that you're working at Planet Fitness.
Correct.
We'll give y'all a free commercial real quick. But anyway,
Right.
I know that you're a trainer there.
Yes, ma'am.
So part of your work is training.
Correct.
But as you're training, are you also lifting and all that?
Now, the classes that I teach, I work out with our customers, and that's just so they don't have to go through it alone.
Yeah.
All right? As far as my personal training by myself, I probably spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day in the gym.
And when's your favorite time to do that?
Late at night when there's
Late
not
at
a
night
lot of
when
people.
nobody's there
Yeah, not a lot
that
of
you have to
traffic.
work with?
Correct, yeah, not a lot of traffic.
Some people find that doing it first thing in the morning, like if you're going
Yes.
to run, sometimes first thing in the morning.
You know, you have to base your workouts off of your schedule. So, I mean, as much as I'd like to get up, some days it's just not
possible.
Yeah, to fit my
you just
schedule.
have to work it in when
Right,
you can.
That's right.
I think that I read somewhere, and you can tell me if you think this is true, that you really shouldn't just get up and run on an empty stomach. Is that true?
No, not necessarily. So there's actually one of the best scientific proven ways to lose body fat. It's called intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
Correct.
Doing without food.
For certain periods of the day. So an 18-hour fast, 6 hours of eating. So basically, you know, boil it down. You get all your calories in for the day in this short window.
Okay.
And so that way, outside of that short window, before and after you don't eat, it allows your body to tap into your natural fat storage and burn that for energy.
Burn that off.
Right. So what I would advise, something, you know, not for everybody, of course, because everybody's bodies are different, but if they can, fasted cardio in the mornings 2 to 3 times a week will make a big difference.
Will make a big difference. What are the main things that being physically fit does for a person? Can you?
I mean, you feel better.
Well, that's good enough right there,
right,
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
happier.
Physically, you feel better. You have more energy. Mentally, you know, you're thinking better, quicker, sharper. You know, you have a better mindset.
Do you find
more
if
positive.
something happens that you just literally cannot work out for a few days, do you find that that is a bit depressing? Or you feel kind of down?
Yeah, when I can't make it to the gym, I do kind of get in I'd say a sour mood.
So it lifts you up, and
It does.
you feel like you just really need to do it.
Of course, and
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Honestly, I cannot tell you how. I remember seeing you, I guess, about 7 or 8 months ago.
Yep.
I'm sure it was before you started working out, and I actually thought you were in a bad place.
I was.
And it's just amazing to me. It's like you're a new person.
I
Do you feel like
definitely
a new
am.
person?
I sure do.
I am so proud of you. It's an awesome job you have done. So, some of your hopes and dreams.
I hope to take myself further in the health and fitness industry.
Good.
I hope to open up my own gym here in the next 5 years or so.
So remember that name, Caleb Dye's Gym.
Right. So if anybody was curious and wanted more information, as far as social media is concerned, DieFit Nutrition on Instagram, DieFit Nutrition on Twitter, Vero.
And that's D-Y-E.
D-Y-E,
Fit.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's my last name.
Right.
So try to, you know, add a little personality to it.
It's amazing how many people you can touch through social media.
It really is. I mean, not just that. I mean, I'm helping people from other states that I never even would have dreamed of helping. So it's a blessing.
So do you think that you'll continue doing competitions?
Yes, I will. Maybe not competing, but maybe coaching or you know, just being a part of it.
It's a wonderful. Well, we've got 7 seconds. What do you got to say? Get out there and get fit. What was your motto?
Let's get better together.
Let's get better together. I love it. Thanks, Caleb.
Thank you.
I love you. We'll be back.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away, and choosing the right seat for your little one's age and size will take you down the road to safer travels.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Harris. I've been providing communication services throughout the United States since 1985. But instead of me telling you about the services I provide, I'll let some of my clients speak for me.
This is Philip Barnett of the Russell Barnett Automotive family. We have 5 new car dealerships. Jerry Harris has handled our telephones for many years. Just recently, he came to us with a new program with Host My Calls. They not only saved us money, but the service is out of sight. I highly recommend Jerry and the Host My Calls team for any of your telephone needs.
Host My Calls is by far the best service I have ever placed with any of my clients. It provides cost-saving solutions while providing great communications. Call me today, 931-581-4411. See how Host My Calls can save you.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
All right, folks, we're back, and we have my man Winston Brooks on the scene. One of the hard-workingest cats I know. He travels this city daily, writing grants, looking for things to fix, hunting for great things to do, and is responsible for a whole lot of stuff. And I'm very, very proud of him. I say that every time he comes on. I'll say it every time he returns again. Winston Brooks is a machine. What you got going?
Well, thank you so much for that introduction.
Well, you got it, man. You deserve it.
Well, there's so many great people in this community.
Well, sure there are.
The Tullahoma Arts Council is doing a fantastic job with the Arts Alive Tullahoma Arts and Crafts Festival, and that's what I wanted to come here today and talk to you about. It is going to be a great event, May 26th and May 27th. And I just want to shout out to the sponsors we've got right now on the Arts Alive. We've got First Choice Realtors, Stan McNabb Automotive, Southern Community Bank, McMurrs, Weichert Realtors, Stephen Worsham, Lester Green and McCord, Tullahoma Utilities Authority, Charles Parrish, and Bill and Debbie Sanders.
Very good.
And there's still room for sponsorships if you need them, but they have all stepped up. And what we're going to present on those days is going to blow everyone away. We've got 25 artists already signed up. There's still booths available, but the art is just of a spectacular level. There is painting, stained glass, crafts. There's a look at one of our booths that are coming down. I mean, just really nice acrylic work there. We've got woodworking. We've got local Howard Thompson coming in with his jewelry and photography. So it is going to be a great day to be at the newly renovated South Jackson Civic Center grounds.
And they're working hard on that.
Yes, and they have assured me that that big pile of dirt will be gone.
Oh, you think so?
Otherwise, we're going to have a special place for the children to play.
That's it, dirt diving.
Excellent. And so we also have an incredible music lineup. Debbie Sanders of the Arts Council, she's the Community Playhouse representative, has set up Emily Rutherford's Band of Pearls, Chase Clanton and guest, and you know what a machine Chase Clanton is.
He's great.
Marion and Dave. And then we've got Larry Crabtree and the MTSU Jazz Ensemble. And that's all going to happen on Saturday afternoon on the steps of the South Jackson Civic Center. You just can't beat it, you know, to come down and enjoy walking through, spending a little money, getting some great art, listening to a little, music. And there's also going to be a children's booth where they can do some arts and craft activities. We also have a great lineup of food vendors. So
you always have to have food.
Man, listen to this. So you got Crazy Daisies, Shenanigans.
Ooh.
Yep. Pop's Crazy Kettle Corn, Sundrop Products, and we're going to have a few more coming on in there to round out a great day of food, music, and incredible art. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely go out to the artscouncil.com website, get our application. Booth fees are $75. But, you know, one of the things that we've heard a lot while we were putting this together is that, you know, I don't have enough art to fill up a complete booth. So we have the Emerging Artist Tent. So we're going to have one of these giant tents set up.
What a good idea.
And you can get just a 6-foot table and display your wares, and you'll have the space behind the table as well. And so we've got some high school students coming in. And if you're a high school student from first grade to senior, you will be allowed to enter for free. And, you know, one thing I haven't mentioned, and this is incredible, if you're an artist, you need to get in with this because we're going to have $1,800 worth of prize money. So we've got some really great judges lined up through the Arts Center. And I can't think of their names right now, but they are art teachers from Motlow. We've got the director of the Tennessee Arts and Crafts, and we've got an art teacher from the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga. And they're going to come in and judge the art. So we'll have the Lucy Hollis Best of Show Award.
Very good.
And her family will be out there.
Wonderful.
To
she deserves that recognition.
So that's going to be a $500 cash prize. Actually, we're going to send you a check. But and then we have $100 awards for the other spots. And
Good.
we also have some awards for the student art as well. It's just going to be a great event. And, you know, Lucy Hollis did the Arts Festival here for 41 years. And this has been something that has been a vision for the Arts Council for the last couple of years. And this year we finally got it up and running, and it's going to be another great event, and I hope it becomes a great tradition that everyone enjoys.
Well, and what I want to say about that is this. You know, 40 years that took place, and at one point it was huge. There were probably 200 artists there, and the grounds of South Jackson was covered up, and a lot of you still remember what that was. Well, that dwindled, and it took years for it to dwindle down to finally that went away. And so it's going to take some time to build it back up. The fact that there's 25 really special good artists so far, there'll be more before the show.
Yeah, cutting off April 30th.
Come to the show. Enjoy the show, because that's what brings these artists here. Buy something, because they can go to other shows where there's a huge amount of people, and they can have a good weekend, and because they're in the business of selling their stuff. So we need to embrace the ones that are there, where they can tell their friends, hey, you need to come to the Tullahoma show next year.
Exactly.
They did a really good job. They put on a really good show, and they treated us with respect and kindness, and they bought stuff.
That's an artist experience is really what's going to make this a successful show. They'll come back. And so, like you said, come down. The price points are going to be from $20 to probably, you know, up. But there's going to be plenty of art that's going to be quality art that's priced affordable. We need volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, call me down at City Hall, 455-2648. And we also have a program called, if you don't want to be a full sponsor, but you want to just get involved, we have purchase awards, which is just like a gift certificate for art. And just call us and we'll get you set up with that.
Okay. All right. That's Winston Brooks, the spark plug of Tullahoma, Tennessee. And he fires every day just like he's supposed to. We'll be right back after these messages.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department needs you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. I'm on the set with Judy Jenkins and her friend Elaine. And Elaine, you'll have to forgive me because I don't have a memory for your last name.
That's all right. Elaine Huffines.
Say that again.
Huffines.
Huffines.
Yes.
Nice to have you, and we're here for important things. So let me you start, Judy.
Well,
What's up?
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to tell you about the Trinity Adult Daycare Center and its diamond-studded gala.
Which is always awesome.
Absolutely. It's going to be on Saturday, April the 21st. And the reason we have this gala is to raise money for the center.
I know.
And if you're not familiar, or some of our viewers are not familiar, the center dedicates its occupancy to those individuals with dementia. And having been a nurse in a hospital, I can tell you it took 3 people 8-hour shifts to take care of one person with dementia. So keeping a loved one at home is extremely difficult, and it's even more difficult if you have to be a breadwinner at the same time.
And you all offer daycare so that the caretaker gets a break. And that's wonderful. I've been there.
That is exactly. Both Elaine and I lost our mothers to Alzheimer's related illnesses, and so we understand the importance of it. And this daycare center is one of the few opportunities that the whole area, Coffee County, and it does serve all the other counties around it, to give the opportunity for those people to be in a loving environment. It's a home that has been
And there's activities for them to do, keep them busy.
Yes. And now with Alzheimer's, you can't increase the knowledge or increase the behavior, but what you do is you hold it steady.
Right.
And they do that with crafts and with music and with bingo, and they have aids. Everybody has their own reclining chair.
Oh, that's great.
I worked there one afternoon, and it was really, really neat to see how comfortable, because they feel like it's an extension of their home.
They feel at home.
Absolutely.
Elaine, how long have you been involved with this?
I've been involved in it about 5 years. I'm the treasurer of the board. Yes.
Well, thank you for serving.
Well, thank you. It is an absolute honor to be helping out and helping those families who, and it can be any family, can have a loved one that they just need a break.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if they do, they need to call the center.
And do people, as a rule, set up certain times every week or every day that they can bring their loved one? And is there a cost for?
It changes from
is there
day
a cost
to day.
for that?
There is a cost, but it's by the hour. It's not like a little daycare where they sign up and they're signed up all day.
Like if you want to go get groceries and leave your mom or your dad or sister or whatever.
A lot of people are there the entire day from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Others will be there for half a day, or they'll be there on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Whatever works out with the caregiver, so that she or he or they have an opportunity to get to work.
And for what it's worth, people need to understand the caregiver has got to be very, very calm and easy and loving with the patient, and that gets stressful at times.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it really does. I can tell you.
Yes, we really encourage people to take advantage of the
Well, let's talk about the exciting evening you're going to have.
Absolutely.
Listen,
yes.
It sounds great.
The whole evening has been structured around diamonds. And we have a wonderful donor that provides chocolate diamonds, and I think there's going to be a rose diamond this year. And the beautiful thing is everyone gets an opportunity to win a diamond, because when you walk in,
you get the little
there's
bag.
a huge basket of little black velvet bags, and you stand over it and you go through the feel of it, then you choose one, and then you open it up to see if you're the winner.
And it just might have a diamond.
It might have a diamond. I think.
And so probably who'd you say donated the diamonds?
The diamonds are donated by Hanson
stones.
Realty and Ressa and Wendell. Wendell is our auctioneer because we have a live auction.
That's
we have
wonderful.
a silent auction. We have music being provided by a DJ. And the meal that we do is going to be buffet this year with meats, vegetables, pastas,
Plenty
and
of food.
whatever.
I've been there.
Lots of good
wonderful
food. And it is going to be at the Country Club. Now, the tickets cost $65 each, and although that sounds like a large amount of money, and on I guess a payday it could be, $35 of that is tax deductible because we are a charity.
Right.
On top of that, we would like for people to see and do a little networking and visit with others. A lot of the people that attend have lost loved ones
And
to Alzheimer's.
sometimes you find that people don't realize we have this daycare center here in our town. Which
That's
is,
right. Awareness.
Is that on Clement Drive?
It's on First Avenue. Yeah,
Sorry.
it's
I know
right.
where it is.
Right, it's yes,
across
it's on-
from Brookdale Nursing
right
Home,
across from
right.
Brookdale. Exactly.
And do y'all find it filled to capacity at times?
It is not filled with capacity. We are licensed for 12 people, so it
Okay.
is a small number. And as you know, people who have Alzheimer's or dementia don't do well in crowds.
Right.
So
I understand that. Now, I know you have some
number
wonderful
of people.
sponsors.
We do.
Is there anybody
Yes.
you want to say thank you to?
Coca-Cola and Jacobs, and we've got many others, and
I
all the
guarantee you they'd
sponsors.
take more sponsors, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Right now today?
Of course.
If you would
Absolutely.
just call that
Anyone
number
that has an
for
interest, we'd
reservation. I
love-
think you have a deadline on reservations.
Yes, this week, Thursday, I believe, is our deadline
and
for
the
our
event
reservations.
itself is
On Saturday the 21st.
Saturday
so in
the
two Saturdays.
21st.
Well, ladies, I wish we had more time.
Thank you
but
so
thank
much.
you
Thank
for
you.
your
Appreciate
loving
it.
care of this
thank you. We
program.
enjoy it.
We'll be back.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, we're back. We're back. Short close, she said. Short statement.
Oh, what you got?
Loku 148. If you feel alone, if your life is a mess, find the road back. You're still part of us. Come home.
Oh, I love that.
You know,
I
and
do.
home doesn't always mean a location. It means a comfortable place where you find
That made me want to cry. That is beautiful.
Where you
I
find
remember how that
solace,
felt.
solace, friendship, and peace. Peace is the most important thing you can have in your life. Smile, do something nice for somebody, and be at peace. See you next time?
Yep.
Okay.
Peace out.